Hello, everyone. Welcome to my show. Autumn is here. I am your host, Francine Crawford, and today we're going to speak to Dr. Chere M. Goode. And she is here. She is a wealth of information. We're going to talk about caregiving, dementia, and all the other things that she's doing. So please welcome her to the show. Welcome, Chere.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
So welcome to the show. I really appreciate you taking some time out to talk to us. You have an interesting background and a lot of things to offer. So let's get started. Just tell me a little bit about your background first to get started.
Well, I have been a licensed practical nurse for the past 35 years. So health and wellness has always been embedded in me. I
Mhm.
can remember as a young child in elementary school actually dressing up as a nurse. So that was always my dream to be a nurse. And
Okay.
so when I was 17 years old, I became a nurse. So a lot of people would be surprised to know that at 17, yes, you can become a nurse. I went to a Voc Tech high school that offered nursing. And
Mhm.
so I actually had to take a day off of work to come back and graduate from high school. I was a nurse before a high school grad. So
Oh,
nursing, health and wellness has always been embedded in me.
okay.
I am a mother of two. My youngest son is deceased, but I still have an older son, Joshua. So Joshua
Mhm.
and Jordan are my sons. So I'm a mom, boy mom at heart, diehard football fan. Go Ravens! I am a 10-time best-selling international author, speaker, wellness coach, and I have an honorary doctorate degree in social advocacy. So I'm really big on community service. I own a nonprofit organization named after my late son, Jordan Alexander Cofield. It's called the Jordan Alexander Cofield Foundation. And it's
Okay.
a 501c3 nonprofit organization where we enrich the lives of others through his legacy. So we'll talk. I know we'll talk more about that later, but
Okay.
that's just a little bit about me. Over 22 years of dementia experience, and
Mhm.
I've done it all in nursing. You name it, I've done it. I've done dementia, hospice. I do vascular surgery now. I'm certified in wound care. So I've delved into many different areas of healthcare and still have the love for it.
Okay, okay. Well, awesome. Well, my show, we talk about different things that affect people of aging. We talk about dementia, we talk about caregiver. So let's talk a little bit about, you said dementia, you had a lot of training in that and experience in that. Let's just talk about that. I just was doing a show and I went somewhere and I went a couple of places and people were still asking questions about dementia. I find that people hear it, but they
Yeah,
don't take it in. They don't until something happens.
yeah.
So, what would you say about dementia and signs for dementia, like people should look out for?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You don't ever bark. Cut it out. This is Miko. We're gonna get this out the way. Say hi, Miko. This is
Hi,
Miko.
Miko.
This is my baby. He's a little shorky and he likes to make his appearances on camera only when
Oh,
I'm
he's cute.
doing some interviews and on talking.
What would you say to people? A lot of people are not. They hear dementia, they hear it, but they're not clear on it. And
Yeah,
even if they go to healthcare things and whatever, they hear it, but
yeah,
they're not clear on it. What is it that you would say that would get people to take it really seriously? Because 1 in 9 Americans have it. So, it's something that we should look forward to, like trying to get more information about. So how would
absolutely.
get to them and encourage people to really get into understanding what to
Right.
expect?
Well, the first thing people always are like, well, what is dementia? Why does somebody have dementia? There's so many different types of dementia,
Right.
so that can be confusing itself. But basically, the term dementia is just a general term for like memory loss,
Mhm.
language loss, problem solving loss. Those are some of the things that are key signs that a person may have dementia.
Mhm.
Things like they're not able to problem solve anymore. They may forget small things that interfere with their daily activities of living. So, like you and I, we get up every day, we know we're going to bathe, we're going to get dressed, we're going to go about our day. Someone with dementia may have problems keeping that order. They may forget constantly where their keys are, where their wallet is. What was I getting ready to do? And some of that sounds like things like foggy brain, like if you're
Right,
going through
right.
menopause or something.
Yeah.
Those are some of the same symptoms that a menopausal woman may have, right? Or as we get
Right.
older, we just forget more. So that's the part that makes differentiating just normal aging and dementia so difficult. And sometimes it makes it difficult to the point where people can't get diagnosed early enough where they can kind of
Mhm.
slow down the process a little bit. And so, if they're forgetting like how to do things like feed themselves, like wash themselves, that's a later stage of dementia.
Mhm.
Early stages of dementia can be masked. So
Mhm.
just
Right.
keep a close eye on your loved ones, especially as they're getting older. It's not just your simple, oh my goodness, I forgot something. It's something
Mhm.
big like I'm forgetting how to get to familiar places. I'm
Right.
forgetting to get how to get back home after I went to a familiar place. And you come home every day. So they're forgetting things like how to get home and
Okay.
just driving, so it's more than just, oh, I forgot something. It's more in depth that it interferes with their daily
Right.
activities.
So if you think that you are having some of those symptoms or you are caring for someone who may have some of those symptoms, what do you do? How do you approach a doctor or healthcare worker? Like, what would be the next steps to do? And do you know anything about testing?
So they would definitely want to talk to their doctor. That's the first thing. There are some tests. There aren't any blood tests or anything like that that you can do to diagnose dementia. So actually, dementia is really not able to be 100% diagnosed until a person passes away, unfortunately. And then when they look at their brain, they can see the plaquing in the brain where the nerve endings aren't meeting. And that's how they can accurately, 100% without a shadow of a doubt,
Mhm.
diagnose a person with dementia. Some other ways they do like some mini mental tests to see if they score low, if they score lower on certain questions that you and I would typically know, even if we're getting older,
Mhm.
then that would be some of the things like, hey, can you say these things in order? And they may say three things to them. Can you repeat those things to me? You can't
Mhm.
repeat those things. That could be a sign of early dementia. Or, hey, can you put the hands on the clock?
Right.
To make it 3 o'clock or make it 4 o'clock or whatever. And you and I could do that. Even a person who may be older, they can look at their watch and they could read a watch. I don't
Mhm.
know about nowadays. They don't use those kind of
Oh,
watches anymore.
right.
Everybody has digital, but the age group that
Right.
we're thinking that has dementia, then they should be able to do those things like draw the hands on a clock and
Mhm.
tell you the order that things would be in, which one comes first, breakfast, lunch, or
Right.
dinner when you wake up, things
Mhm.
like that. And so there's a scoring that they would receive that would basically give them the diagnosis to say, hey, they have Alzheimer's,
Okay. Okay.
along with family feedback saying different things that maybe the loved one may have been doing. Like, hey, they were just
Right.
walking around in the room. They couldn't remember where they were or why they were here, things like that. That would be telltale signs.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I know you've done a lot of things. So I'm curious about palliative care and hospice.
Yeah.
And one of the things I would like you to, if you can explain what palliative care is first, and then we
Okay.
can go into hospice.
Okay. So palliative care is more of keeping your loved one comfortable.
Mm.
It's kind of like passive care where you wouldn't do the aggressive uh, things to someone like you and I. Let's say a young person, they have a health incident or something, then they would go and they would get every single measure to try to save their life. With palliative care, it's all about keeping the person comfortable.
Mhm.
So if they were to have an event or something like that, maybe they wouldn't go to the hospital. If they're home, they would just be made comfortable at home, whether it be with medication or stopping some of the medications they're on. That would be curative. So there's curative and then there's palliative. Palliative is more just comfortable, making a person comfortable.
At what point would you use palliative care? Because you have hospice and you have palliative care. At what point is it where before you think they're going to pass away, and they have a lot of ailments and sickness and things like that, so they need special attention?
Well, actually, if a person is getting palliative care, they may qualify for hospice care. It's
Mm.
just when people hear the word hospice, no one wants to hear that their loved one is transitioning or getting closer to the
Mhm.
end of their life. So a lot of times people don't like the word hospice, that they think it's the end all or that they're wishing their loved one die, which
Mhm.
that's not. It's just actually a bunch of extra support that more people should actually use hospice services than actually call and ask about it. You can get extra care as far as taking care of your loved one. You can get more information. You get a whole set of doctors and nurses and support outside of your regular physician that you may already have. They can come to the home and do visits and things like that. So really, hospice is still a form of palliative care, but that person has a diagnosis that it's possible that within 6 months or less they could pass away from that diagnosis. Now, people live long after they've been on hospice. People can graduate from hospice even, but as long as they're showing some form of their disease is progressing and
Mhm,
getting even slightly worse, they can maintain that hospice status. So it's been people that's been on hospice for years,
mhm.
and we don't talk about it enough because it
Right.
sounds like the end all. It sounds like I'm trying to kill my loved one off. Oh, they're going to give them morphine and they're going to die. You're
Mhm,
still very much in control of how you want your hospice to look, and the family as well. The family says, hey, we don't want them started on morphine, or we don't want those measures. Then they meet you where you are. But then
mhm,
we also do a lot of education so that you know, like, hey, these are the things that can be done to keep your loved one comfortable. So
mhm.
basically, palliative care is just keeping the person comfortable, but without the extra help and all. They can be wherever they are and just made comfortable at home or in the facility, wherever they may be. Or a hospice, you actually have another team that's coming in to co-manage the care.
Okay. Why would
Yep.
you, how would you encourage somebody to be comfortable with asking for hospice care or at the point where they have to get hospice care? Because they usually ask you, would you want to put your person in hospice care or you want to do that or whatever? And it's hard for the person, whether it's your spouse or your
Yeah.
parent or whatever, to say yes. Like, what is something that would maybe make it more clearer that it's something that actually will help the person who cares for the person also?
Right. Well, in the beginning stages, let's just talk about, since we were talking about dementia. At a certain point, a person forgets how to eat. They forget how to feed themselves. They forget how to eat. Even if you put the food in their mouth, if they're in the latent stages, latter stages, they may not even know what to do with the food once you put it in them. So, of
Mhm,
course, then you're going to have the things like weight loss. You're going to have some dehydration. Those things come along with a person maybe starting to look emaciated or thin because you're going to lose weight if you don't eat.
mhm,
So helping the family to understand, or the person to understand that we're going to walk with you during this journey. We know it's difficult. We're going to help you to understand each thing that's going on as it happens. Also, if your loved one is going to have any pain, we're here to manage the pain and make sure that that your loved one dies with dignity, that they're not in pain at the end of their life. Educating the family and letting them know that just because a person gets on hospice doesn't mean they're going to stay, and a person has to qualify for hospice. It's not
mhm,
just calling and saying, hey, I want my loved one on hospice. No,
mhm,
there's a thorough process where they have to look at all their diagnoses, look at their medications, look at how many hospitalizations they've had. So there's a thorough review of their medical record. It's
mhm,
not just, oh, I want my parent on hospice. There has to be qualifiers. So if they're not qualified, hospice does not take you on. So if a
mhm.
person is actually accepted into hospice, that's a strong indicator that they need to be there.
That's good that you said that because some people think that people, doctors or in the hospital just wants to move their person along and saying okay
Right.
well, they need to go to hospice or whatever. But you're saying that there's qualifiers and they have
Yes.
things that they have to go through to say that okay this person is qualified to go into hospice. They don't just say okay well we've
Right.
treated them and let's just move to hospice, right?
Right. Yeah, they're
That yeah.
qualifiers. Like, how, have they had weight loss?
Mhm,
Have they been hospitalized? Have they had any infections that needed antibiotics? How often are they happening? Is this person able to do, certain things for themselves? What's their level of strength? Like, are they weak? Are they able to stand? Are they able to do anything like that? Do they have wounds? So there's a
mhm.
lot of different factors that the person has to go through and look at to see, hey, are they hospice appropriate?
Okay, okay. So let's talk about our caregivers and seniors. Wellness is very, very important, and a lot of
Hmm.
times we don't really understand how important it is and how many things we're not doing and that we need to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes people have to point it out to us. And I understand that you have a company, Total Harmony, and that's a wellness company.
Yes, Total
Yeah.
Harmony Enterprises. Yes.
Total Harmony Enterprises. So,
Yeah.
tell us about that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Total Harmony Enterprises was birthed in 2015. No, not 2015, 2010. I'm sorry, 2010. So almost 16 years old now.
Mm,
And with Total Harmony Enterprises, it's just that, bringing total harmony to you. We don't think
mm,
about ourselves as a three-part puzzle: mind, body, spirit.
mm,
And so we have to treat every single part of us to feel whole. So if mentally you're not stable and you're not feeling well, if physically you're not feeling well, or emotionally you're not feeling well, the puzzle is not put together and we can't see the beautiful person that you truly are.
mm,
And so with Total Harmony Enterprises, they call me the recharge strategist. So I teach you how to every day tap into your needs mentally, physically, emotionally. Do a self assessment. How
mm,
do I feel today? How am I feeling mentally? Am I sad? Am I feeling okay? Am I feeling depressed? What am I feeling mentally? Emotionally? Do I
mm.
feel lonely? Am I feeling like lost? What am I feeling? And then physically, do I feel energized? Do I feel well rested? Do I
Okay.
feel like I've eaten enough today? Do I feel like I've eaten good today? Or have I fed my body junk? So just teaching my clients ways to recharge their internal body, their internal batteries. If you think about a computer, if you let your computer run, 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 and you never take a time for it to cool down and you shut it down and even plug it in so it can recharge, it won't work properly, right? It's going to shut down whether you want it to or not if you don't do the necessary maintenance on it. Same thing with our bodies. If we don't do the necessary maintenance mentally, if we're not, tapping in and taking moments of stillness and just doing a check, a pulse check, like, how am I today? We all have gone through something in life. We all have things that are going on that maybe are weighing on us, especially in this economy with finances and things like that. That's a number one stressor in the world is finances. So
Mm,
it can actually cause stress to be like a slow poison dripping in your veins. And eventually, all that stress together can lead to a huge health event. So that's why it's important to look at, hey, what am I eating? Am I moving my body? Am I resting my body? Am I planning for sleep? So these are the things that we go through with Total Harmony Enterprises, teaching you how to plan for sleep, how to eat appropriately, how to take mental breaks, how to take mini mental vacations and not even leave your living room. So things like that, deep breathing exercises. So it's all about keeping you whole and well.
okay. What are some of the common things that many people say that like we kind of missed or take for granted and we're not doing and maybe it's something simple or something that we
Mhm.
should all do, especially as we age? What are some of the common things?
Planning for sleep. So we
Mhm.
plan everything else. We plan our appointments. If you look at your calendar, it has everything you need to do. We
Mhm.
don't plan self-care. We don't plan our sleep. And it's important that when it's time to go to bed, what is your mind saying? Is your mind saying, hey, it's turn up time because he or she is going to get in the bed and now start tapping on the computer? Or does your body say, oh boy, he or she is shutting it down once they get in the bed? Are they going to watch TV? What are you going to do? Are you sleeping in a cool environment, a cool, dark environment where your body can actually let that melatonin really absorb in your body? Are you turning your cell phone light off or turning it face down, turning the volume down so that now you're not interrupted? You're having restful sleep. Are you sleeping with a fan so that you have that non-pharmacological oxygen that now helps you to breathe better while you sleep?
Okay.
Are you doing things like having your head elevated for optimal breathing? And also, especially us ladies, we're worried about our wrinkles and our puffiness under our eyes. Are you sleeping with a pillow that is conducive to that? Or even pillows that even are conducive to a healthy spine? So just
Mhm.
planning for sleep, knowing that, hey, I'm not going to exercise within an hour of sleep. I'm not going to eat anything within an hour of sleep, knowing that that can interfere even with my sleep process.
Okay.
So those
Okay.
are the things that we teach at Total Harmony.
So let me just run this past you. I'm always concerned about caregivers. I've seen
Mhm.
different situations, different caregivers. Many times they are not paying attention to themselves because they're giving to other people, and many times they are missing things that they should be to take care of themselves.
Yes.
And what are any like wellness? I don't know if it's treatment or schedule. I don't know what you would do if a caregiver is like, um, I don't feel like myself. I'm giving so
Mhm.
much, I can't get back to myself. What would you do? What would you say for that to get them on the right track of to wellness?
Well, let me say, I was a caregiver for 18 years to my mom.
Okay.
And so, literally, last June, she just moved in with my brother. And the reason that that happened was because I had to speak up for myself.
Mm,
I have two other siblings, and I was it. And it was
mm,
difficult to get help even from my siblings, not negating their love for my mom, but when they know, especially like I'm a nurse, or if they know you're that person, that go-to person, and they know that your heart is big and you're not gonna push the parent or the loved one away, sometimes you get dumped on
right.
and nobody gives you that break. It's okay to need help. It's okay to say I need a break. It's okay to say I no longer want to be a caregiver. And
Mhm,
literally that's what I had to do after 18 years. And, and we'll talk about losing my son, but especially after that, it kind of shifted my life
mhm,
and how I wanted to care for myself. Because
okay.
when you go through something traumatic or you are a caregiver, it does take a toll on your body. And
Mhm,
you have to think like this: if something happens to me, who's going to take care of my loved one?
right, right.
So when you start to have that mindset and you think like that, you be like, listen, I don't have to be it. I don't have to be the only one. But then there's some people who they are the only one. How do they
Mhm,
get that relief? There is something called respite care,
mhm,
where they can actually call a facility or they can call an assisted living or something like that and say, hey, I would like to leave my loved one here for a day, two, a month, a week, whatever kind of break they can use. And actually it can be covered through insurances. And so that's something that a lot of families don't know about. Also, to lessen the burden too, look into getting paid to care for your loved one. A lot of times we don't talk about that, but you actually can receive funding for caring for your loved one. Because if they
mhm,
go into a nursing home, they're going to take all their money, they're going to get paid, right? So why
mhm,
shouldn't you, who's given that same time and probably even, well, 10 times out of 10 better care than what they would get in one of the facilities.
mhm,
So looking and getting information about actually getting some funding for taking care of your loved one, because financially that can be a burden also, because now you have to feed that person, you have to get
right,
supplies for that person. It can become a lot. But just taking moments, if they are someone who take naps, that's your time to rejuvenate and recharge your batteries too. Take
right,
your naps
right.
while they're napping. So you have to be very strategic. I found that the best thing to do is to have your loved one on a schedule so that that helps you to schedule your life as well.
Okay, okay.
And maintaining that schedule actually can help you to just stay sane.
Right, right, right. Are there any tools for that? Like, how do you stay on your track? Is there any suggestion for tools for that? I mean, I guess put it on your
Yeah.
calendar or something like that, but how would you
Right.
say if someone's having a hard time with that, wanting to stay on their track because they feel that they're not well?
Yeah, I would say just like you plan everything else and you put it on your calendar,
Mhm,
schedule yourself me time. I
mhm,
used to put myself on my calendar all the time, me time, from this time to this time.
mhm,
My mom was mobile still, so I would
mhm,
send her for a walk just to get my break. I would send her for a walk. Every
mhm,
day she had to go for a walk. And
mhm,
during that walk, that was my quiet moments.
mhm.
So, if you
Okay.
have a loved one, maybe if they like a favorite television show, while they're sitting there watching that television show, yes, you have them in earshot, but that could be your moment to woosah. That's your moment to breathe, relax, release, recharge, whatever you want to call it. And
Okay.
then also, I used to play megahertz music. So, if you go on YouTube,
Mhm.
even just look up megahertz. It has different moods that you want to feel. When you want to feel
Mm,
energized, when you want to feel calm, and I would just play that music around the house. It works on pets, it works on people. And
really?
yeah, it works. Yeah,
Nice.
whatever mood you want to feel, even if you're having trouble sleeping at night or your loved one, especially with
Mhm.
dementia, you have to wind them down around 3 o'clock. So you
Right.
want to energize them during the day, but as it gets closer to 3 o'clock and they start sundowning, you want to shift the mood. So
Okay.
playing relaxing, calming music instead of upbeat, energizing music, you want them to calm down some. And so that's what I used to do when I worked as a dementia nurse. In the
Okay.
mornings, oh, it was loud. We had it loud, boom, boom, rowdy music. Let's get up,
Yeah.
let's go, let's get dressed, let's go. Making songs to make things fun. But then as
Mhm.
it got like 2:30, I started putting smooth jazz on, and they would all sit down, and they would start to fall asleep on the sofa for a little nap. But then I didn't let them sleep long because you don't want them to wake up
Right.
at night, and then
Mhm.
you're up all night because they're up because they just slept all afternoon.
Right, right.
So maybe give them like 15 to 30 minutes, 15-minute increments, just to get them through one little room. You don't want to keep filtering over to the next rooms, but 15, 20, I mean, 15 to 30 minutes, and
Mhm,
let them have their little nap. And then you
mhm,
want to wake them up because it's time to eat dinner. but then you want to wind them down again. But you just want to get yourself through that sundowning, because that's the hardest part for
Mhm.
caregivers, even in the facilities everywhere, is that sundowning period where they're off the chain.
Wow. So you were a nurse, you're a caregiver to your mom
Mhm.
of like 18 years. So during that
Yes.
time, sadly, you lost your son, Jordan,
Yes.
at that time too. So you were dealing with all of that.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So Jordan was 20 years old when he passed away. He was a starting wide receiver at Morgan State University, football player, track star,
Okay.
had his eyes set on the NFL. They were
Mhm.
actually looking at him, and he decided to buy a motorcycle. And he
Mhm.
had the motorcycle for 4 days. And then I got a phone call telling me that Jordan had had a crash the exit to my home. And sadly, when I got to the scene, Jordan had passed away instantly. He had died.
Oh,
And this
sorry.
was my youngest son, 20 years old, had a bright future ahead of him. And
Mhm.
so, of course, my world came crashing around me.
Mhm.
And in those moments, I couldn't take care of anybody. I
Okay.
couldn't even take care of myself.
Mhm.
My sister came and stayed with me to help make sure I was okay, because you feel like you're losing your mind when you have such a huge loss, a
Right.
sudden loss, especially a child.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't take care of anybody else. So I had to make that call to my brother and my sister. I'm like, listen, I can't take care of anybody but myself right now.
Mhm.
So my mom did leave for a while, but then she came back once I felt more stable and felt like I could do it again. But then as I still started navigating my life more and more, I found I didn't want to be a caregiver. I didn't want to worry about anybody else but me after
Mhm.
going through all that and surviving it. Where
Yeah.
before I had all of this to give, I didn't have all that to give anymore. And
Wow.
then it wouldn't be fair to her to be evil because I'm angry because I lost my son and I was going through mood swings and
Right.
on top of menopause and
Mhm.
everything
Oh, yeah.
else, so you got mood swings from that. So it wasn't fair to her if I would snap at her and things like that. And I
Right.
had to just be honest with myself. I'm
Right.
not up for caregiving anymore after 18 years. And I love
Mm.
my mom. And if she needed something now, I still go get her and I take her out and we go have fun and she'll be at my upcoming gala. So
Mhm.
but I couldn't do it every day anymore.
Yeah.
It kind of annoyed me.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
I
not,
get
it's
it.
okay to say that.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I get it.
caregiving can be annoying
Yeah.
sometimes. Or you feel like this is
Yeah.
not what I signed up for. This is
Yeah.
not where I'm supposed to be right now. And we know our parents sacrificed for us and we feel that obligation. But it's okay for you to be okay, because if you're not okay, you're not going to be the best version of yourself and you're not going to give your best to your loved one. It will be better
Yeah.
for you to step away and still be involved in their care than to
Mhm.
not give the best care. So that
Yeah.
was the decision that I had to make. And I felt guilty for a while about it. But then I had to let that guilt go. I had to let it
Absolutely.
go. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that you are very honest with it. And you said you have to be honest about it. And you're really um, saying some real true feelings. That's
Mhm.
one of the things people don't say. They're
Yeah.
not really honest about being frustrated about taking
Mhm.
care of their parent or being like,
Yeah.
why me?
Yeah.
Or feeling like, oh, feeling guilty about, honestly, I really don't want to do this now. This wasn't my
Right.
plan. And
Yeah.
oh, I thought I was going to do it for a little while, and now it's 3 years down the line, and
Yeah.
it's getting worse or whatever.
Mhm.
People don't. They're not honest about that. And you have to be honest about that so you can make better decisions and make a plan. Like, well, how do I get support? How do I get
Yes.
support for me or for her or whatever? So a lot of people don't. They just kind of keep going along, and that weighs on them also
Yeah.
emotionally, physically.
Mhm.
It brings them down, and it doesn't help the person that you're
Right.
caring for.
Mhm.
So I'm glad you're open enough to
Yeah.
say that you had to be
Oh
honest
yeah.
about your honest feelings, and it doesn't make you a bad person. You
No.
still
No.
love that person, but right now you don't have it to give.
Yeah.
You
And you
know,
can't give from an empty cup. We've all heard that how many
right,
times. You can't give
right,
from an empty cup. You have to give
yeah,
from your overflow, from your from your surplus. And so I knew that after having such a tragedy in my life and just trying to find my way, that I just was not
mhm,
prepared to take care of my mom anymore. So I mean, I still tried after that, but I
mhm,
just knew it would just I found myself being irritable. To
Yeah,
be
no,
honest,
I
I felt
know.
myself being irritable and I was snappy
Too.
and maybe not saying things the way that I would normally say it to her in a
Mhm,
kind way. It would come out snappy because I'm dealing with too much up here. I was
mhm,
just dealing with too much and trying to grieve, and it was just too much. And so
mhm.
I had to make that decision a year ago now to let her move with my brother. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, I totally understand because I was
Yeah.
there, and that's
Yeah.
that's how I felt,
Yeah.
but it's very hard. I didn't have a brother or sisters for them to help out in that way, but,
Right.
I know those
Yeah.
feelings, and then you have to kinda come back and recharge yourself, and sometimes you just don't know how to, you
Exactly.
just don't know how
Yeah.
to, so,
And it
yeah,
can be
so
exhausting, especially if you're working and being a caregiver
yeah,
and you're trying to work and you're trying to keep finances together. And it's like going from one job to another job. So you have two jobs now, sometimes three jobs. And if you have
yeah,
kids and you have a husband or a significant other you're trying to take care of as well, now
yeah,
that factors in, is my significant other going to be willing to deal with this? Because now
mhm,
you're a package deal.
right,
You're a
right,
package deal now. So
right,
like
yeah,
it's the whole snowball of things, the snowball of effect when you become a caregiver that
right,
people really, really don't think about.
mhm,
And sometimes like other family members may try to cause, guilt trip the other person. Like, I can't believe you don't want to take care of your loved one. Well, you
mhm, yeah.
look, have at it. You want to try it? You can try it.
You try
You
it,
can
you
try
try
it,
it.
or like, hey, let's split this up.
Mhm,
Let's get some
mhm.
help. And like you didn't have help.
Right.
So the entire burden was on you. So,
Mhm.
kudos to you for being a caregiver as long
Yeah.
as you did.
I didn't expect it, but, you
Yeah.
do what you have to do.
Yeah.
What do you think that, let me ask you a question. What have you learned in being a caregiver? Because I'm sure it wasn't something you planned or expected or whatever, but after I know your mom is still here, but
Hmm.
you went through caregiving, you went through the loss of your son, you went through all these different things. What have you learned? And that you
Ooh.
can maybe help another caregiver, like,
Yeah.
you know
If you have the means to take a break, take a break.
okay, okay.
It's okay to ask for help.
Mhm,
Reach out to resources. There are different agencies that will take insurance, home visitation companies and things like that. Even if it's an hour, that they can have someone come and sit with your loved one while you go run errands or just go get out of the house and take a breath. Those services are available.
okay,
So
okay.
my mom was someone I could leave home. Some people don't
Right,
have somebody they can leave home and go out. If
yeah,
you're somebody who that person has to have 24-hour care, reach out, call social workers, call different places, do your research. There are some other services out there where they can provide, like daycare services, even, or even have someone just come and sit with that person for an hour while you just take a break. Like literally an hour is going to feel like a weight is lifted off your shoulders.
okay.
I used to take 10 minutes and just be like, oh, I'm going to sit outside, or I would take a ride or something like
Mhm,
that. Take breaks. It's okay to take care of you
okay,
because you can't
okay.
take care of anybody else until you take care of yourself. And remember, if you're not here, that person still is not going to get care.
Right,
So you
right,
have to make sure you're taking care of yourself. Yeah.
okay. Okay, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you so much for taking the
Yeah.
time to talk about all these different things. Really, you're doing some great things with your foundation, and the wellness and all of that. So that's great. I know that helps you to get back to yourself.
Yeah.
These things
Yeah.
you love to do, and helping others. Because I believe that your son's foundation helps other young people. Correct?
Yes, the Jordan Alexander Cofield Foundation. I
Okay.
started. It's a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization dedicated to my late son. He was so phenomenal. He was not only an athlete, but he was also a scholar. He was
Okay.
on the dean's list. And he was just a phenomenal all around guy who loved people. And
Mhm.
so we started a scholarship fund in his honor.
Mhm.
It's called the Jordan Alexander Cofield Scholarship. And so each year we give out scholarships to kids going to HBCUs. And so we've given out eight in it'll be 6 years on August 22nd. And this year we're having our fundraiser on the actual anniversary of his death. So at
Mhm.
first I didn't think I was going to do it that day, but I said, you know what better way to remember him and honor him than
Mhm.
to give out some scholarships in his name and talk about the amazing young man that he was and everything that he was doing. Now we can allow somebody else to finish what he was unable to finish. So that's what we'll be doing on August the 22nd. We also started an initiative called Grieving Mothers Rising,
Mm,
because you don't just rise one time as a grieving mother. It's every single day is an effort and a journey to get up and rise up and
wow.
keep living life, because when you lose a child, you feel like, why my child, why not me, do I even want to be
Mm,
here anymore? I went through all those emotions. Even just as late as Friday, I had a day that I just burst into tears,
oh,
and I just was crying uncontrollably. So the grief never goes away. We just find ways to cope and deal with it and try to just keep pushing through life. But it's something that never ever goes away. And so Grieving Mothers Rising is a group for mothers who have lost children, no matter how they've lost them. We gather quarterly and we do something fun, to kind of
okay.
take our minds away from losing our children and just find some normalcy in life again. And then do a pulse and see how each person is doing and let them know you're not on this island by yourself. We know what you're feeling. We know you're not okay, but you're pretending to be okay. And you have a whole tribe here to support you behind your healing journey. And then we also do motorcycle safety through the organization, as well as we adopted a road in Jordan's honor in my neighborhood in
Oh,
Owings
wow.
Mills, Maryland. Yeah, and so we clean it
Um,
4 times a year to do community service. He was big on community service, and so that's our give back. So we clean it 4 times a year, and there's signage on 2 directions of the road with his name on it, honoring Jordan A. Cofield.
okay.
Yeah,
Wow. That's
we've been
amazing.
busy, and we've been busy.
You've been busy. And you're in Maryland, correct?
I'm in Maryland. Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So we're
Well,
keeping his legacy, his memory alive. And our
absolutely.
slogan for the organization is enriching lives through legacy. So Jordan's legacy lives on by us enriching the lives of others through our community service, through giving out scholarships, supporting other people's other youth journey through whatever they want to do with their life.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
That's so great. Just giving back and
Mhm.
sharing with other people. And the grieving rising. I mean, that what's
Grieving
that?
Mothers Rising. Yeah, Grieving
Grieving mothers
Mothers.
rising.
Mhm.
That's
Yes.
amazing because grief shows up in so many different ways
Yeah.
at any time, and it doesn't necessarily stop after a couple
Yeah.
of years. So yeah.
Yeah. And you
Awesome.
have to learn how to live life again. Because you feel strange when you first take that step back out into the world
Yeah.
after you breathe and you stayed, by yourself and isolated. And then when you take that first step back out into the world, you feel like everybody's watching me, everybody's looking at me. Is it okay for me to enjoy life again? Is it okay for me to have
Mm,
fun? Or am I
mm,
supposed to grieve forever? You feel all those different emotions. And so
yeah.
you almost feel like an out of body experience. Like I'm here,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I should be here. I don't know if I should be having fun. I just lost my child, and that
Yeah.
that was the feelings I know that I felt, and
Right.
other mothers have shared that with me as well. Like it just felt like I didn't feel like I should be having fun when I lost my child.
Yeah. I feel
Hmm.
guilty or something like
Yeah,
you say.
yeah,
Yeah.
guilt,
Yeah.
feelings of guilt. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad you have a support group and
Oh, absolutely.
things like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, that'll help. So,
yeah.
but thank you, Cherie. Thank you so
Absolutely. Thank
much. Thank you
you.
so much for taking the time with us on Autumn is Here and giving us so much information. And this was just you're just so well rounded and so many
Thank
things.
you.
So
And
I
many
really
people wouldn't know that we didn't even know each other. We met through social
yeah
media
right
from me. I think was it from me posting a video about dementia.
right yes
And
yes
then you
yes
reached out
yes,
and we chatted, and there was a
yeah
synergy there. So thank you so much for
yeah.
having me and
Oh,
believing in the knowledge that I'm sharing.
no, no, I appreciate that. Somebody will get this information and they'll learn a lot from it, and it encourages other people also that they're not alone. They're not alone. Other people are going through stuff, but
Yeah.
they're making
And if
it.
anyone does have questions or anything, yeah. And if anyone needs to reach out to me, feel free. I'm on social media. I'm
Oh,
on Facebook as Dr. Chere M. Good. That's Chere, the letter M, and Good, Goode. Dr. Chere
okay,
M. Good on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm Chere M. Good. Just drop the doctor.
okay,
And just shoot me a message if you have a question or anything. Also, you can
okay,
check out my TikTok page, has some videos about dementia on there if you're a caregiver doing dementia and things like that. Yeah.
okay. Great, great. Thank you. And also,
Yeah.
I will put up your foundation, but also, can you just send me about the
Yeah.
the grieving mothers. Just send me what that exactly is, just in case
Absolutely.
somebody's
That's
in
on the
Maryland, they hear this and
absolutely.
they might need that group also.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's actually on the Jordan Cofield Foundation
Oh,
website,
okay.
which is
Okay.
JAC Foundation Inc.com, JAC Foundation Inc.com. And you can go on there, and there's also a way to reach out to me through the organization as well.
Okay. Well, that's great.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking
Thank
the time.
you.
Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime.
All right. Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye bye.